And about me, I am Sandeep Bhushan and my credentials are I have 10 years of teaching experience for civil services. I teach international relations and internal security and the analysis of the Hindu newspaper. And this session will certainly be helpful for you because throughout my session I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases, and by emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases we will identify the factual, analytical and conceptual questions which will be very useful for a preliminary examination. And by imbibing the keywords and the key phrases in your short notes as part of your answer writing, so thereby your answers would be precise and concise and you will certainly score higher marks in the mains examinations. So therefore the daily news analysis at AKS IAS Academy will certainly help you to score higher marks in the mains 2020, as well as it will certainly be useful for you for prelims 2021 as well as mains 2021. So do follow the entire session of my daily news analysis at AKS IAS Academy and do get benefited out of this session. And this is in regards to the daily news paper analysis, that is DNA of the Hindu newspaper, that is today's of 18th November 2020. And before we get into the DNA, we would focus or look at the quote of the day. And the quote of the day is, if people are doubting how far you can go, so go so far that you can't hear anymore. So what is important is you always be away from the people who are doubting from you. You move away from them so that you cannot hear that they would be doubting about you. So move away and then keep going, be positive. And before we get into the topic, I would say a very good morning to everyone. Good morning to all who are in the live and also in the live chat. So a warm welcome to Pantangi, Gauri Naidu, Malvika Sajivan, Harika, D. Suvarna. So all of you, a warm welcome to you, and now we will get into the daily news analysis of today's newspaper. And the news what we would be looking at is the Supreme Court has asked the centre. So Supreme Court has asked the centre in regards to what the centre has done or what the centre has gone ahead with taking various measures in restricting the fake news. So this is the keyword, to restrict the fake news. The Supreme Court has asked the centre to explain what kind of mechanisms it has taken to check or to counter or to restrict or against the fake news and the bigotry on air, that is in regards to the television, what is being aired in the television. So here the keywords are the fake news and then the bigotry on air is the keywords that you need to focus. What the Supreme Court has asked the centre to explain the mechanism, so that what it has created, and if it is already existing, what is the mechanism. Supreme Court has clearly asked the centre to explain the mechanism of countering or handling the fake news and the bigotry, that is dichotomy, or the way the television is airing few of the news is to be looked into the matter. And the Chief Justice, that is Sharath Bobde, who is heading the 3-judge bench which is looking into the fake news and the bigotry on air, it has said that the court is disappointed with the way the government has filed an affidavit, that is filed by the Information and Broadcasting Secretary Amit Khare in the Tablighi Jamaat case. So here the case what the Supreme Court is looking at it in regards to the fake news and bigotry on air, and wherein the Supreme Court has made it very clear that it wanted a explanation or the mechanism how the centre is going ahead in regards to handling the fake news and the bigotry and air. And in turn the Supreme Court has made a very clear statement that it is disappointed with the affidavit which has been filed by the Secretary of the Information and Broadcasting in regards to the Tablighi Jamaat case. So the court has rejected the affidavit as inadequate. The way the content in the government affidavit filed by the Information and Broadcasting Secretary Amit Khare. The court, Supreme Court, has rejected the affidavit, saying that the affidavit which has been filed or which is been given is inadequate, and they say they are disappointed, they are not satisfied, and definitely the center is the government or the Supreme Court is asking the government or the center to get into the mode of whether they have looked into in the affidavit, they are focused, whether they have focused on the Cable TV Act, and the court is asking that whenever there is an question or a complaint being filed, how legally they are taking into consideration, that is the center is looking into the fake news in regards to the Cable TV Act. The court has said it is inadequate, it is disappointed, it is not satisfied, and what the government or the center is going ahead with, the way they are taking up the Cable TV Act. So here the keyword is the Cable TV Act also. Fake news, bigotry and air, and then the Cable TV Act. The Tablighi Jamaat case, the Supreme Court has asked the center to explain the mechanism in regards to the Tablighi Jamaat case. And earlier the Chief Justice of India has also spoken about the affidavit which was put forth by the Information and Broadcasting Under Secretary. First time it has also said that the affidavit by the Under Secretary was evasive in the sense which is avoiding or escaping kind of thing. So it has used, the Supreme Court has earlier used the words or the terms evasive and nonsensical. This is first time, and now this is the second time when it has said inadequate, not satisfied and disappointed. So these are the keywords which the Supreme Court has used in the first time when it was the affidavits was submitted by the Under Secretary, and now when the affidavit was submitted by the Secretary of the Information and Broadcasting. And the government has said that, or the Secretary has said that the government will come up with an elaborate affidavit, and now the affidavit, when the Information and Broadcasting Secretary would submit it to the Supreme Court, would be the third affidavit which will be filing. So definitely the affidavit filed by the Information and Broadcasting Secretary is not at all accepted and not being taken into consideration by the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has looked into the case of the Tablighi Jamaat case because there was a petition filed by Jamaat Ulama-e-Hind, and they have filed a petition against the electronic media, that is few sections of the electronic media wherein they have brought in the communal color for the Tablighi Jamaat event which has taken place in the national capital during the lockdown, that is in the month of March, April, when the Tablighi Jamaat event has taken place. So the petitioner has filed that certain sections of the electronic media has added the communal color to the Tablighi Jamaat event which has taken place in the national capital during the lockdown. And the petitioners, that is the Jamaat Ulama-e-Hind, they are seeking a direction from the court towards the ministry so that they should identify and take strict actions against a section of media who have communalized the Tablighi incident. So definitely the Supreme Court is not satisfied with the affidavit which is been filed by the Information and Broadcasting in regards to the Tablighi Jamaat case, which the Information and Broadcasting has brought in various scenarios, and that has added to the communal color of the Tablighi Jamaat event which has taken up in the national capital. So this is the Supreme Court verdict on to the center's affidavit or government's affidavit. And then for the past 2 months the court has been asking the government. So here what is important is the Cable TV Network Regulation Act 1995. This is the keyword. So definitely the Supreme Court is seeking an advice from the government about the regulatory provisions, of the Cable TV Network Regulation Act 1995, which are meant for the cable networks, whether this Act of 1995 pertaining to the Cable TV network would apply to the TV broadcasters. Please do understand the link here. What the court is asking the government in regards to the Cable TV Network Regulation Act 1995, whether that would be applicable to the TV broadcasters also, wherein if it is applicable, then what the center has done in employing the Cable TV network, and also how it has looked at the complaints raised against the Cable TV Network Regulation Act 1995 as per the Act 1995 towards the government also. So the court is posing center or to the government itself, that is Information and Broadcasting Ministry, and the court is asking that they wanted to know whether the government has any power to question or to ban the TV broadcasting signals. So that is the point which is made, or the questions being posed by the Supreme Court to the government, that is whether the Cable TV Network Regulation Act 1995 would be applicable to the TV broadcasters, and whether the government has any power to question or to ban TV broadcasting signals. And definitely this was asked earlier in the October hearing when the Supreme Court has asked, but not much of explanation is given by the Information and Broadcasting Ministry. That is why the Supreme Court is disappointed. It is not satisfied, and it says that the entire affidavit is inadequate. So again, this is an useful information in regards to the information and broadcasting, that is, or else information and technology. When we are talking about it, the keyword here is Cable TV Network Regulation Act 1995. Now we will look at another news which talks about, there was a study which was conducted by the Asim Premji University in regards to the online education, and it clearly focuses on the woes, that is in regards to the struggle or kind of situation what the online education is prevailing in the government school. So Asim Premji University has conducted a field study on the efficacy and the accessibility of e-learning, especially which have been conducted in the government school, that which do not have access to the online education. So definitely 60% of the respondents from the study being conducted by the Asim Premji University in regards to finding out the efficacy and the accessibility of the e-learning, 60% say that they do not have access to the online education. So here the study is focusing on the government school, that is students of the government school, and this title of the study is The Myths of Online Education. The title is Myths of Online Education, and this study has been taken up in 5 states across 26 districts, which has covered 1522 schools, and then the respondents which they have contacted is 80,000 students, which are part of the 1522 schools, government schools. So definitely out of this, 60% of the respondents of the government schools say that they do not have access to the online education. This information is important in regards to the education. So definitely this could be part of the mains general essay. How online education, because the National Education Policy 2020, the government is very much focused on imbibing or inculcating the technology in education. So thereby now the online or e-learning education, how it is really causing a better access or what are the lacuna in having access towards the online education would be a point which you need to focus for mains general essay perspective, that is in regards to the education, and focusing on the online or the technology involved in the education system. And the study has also examined the experience of both the children and the teachers in the online education, not only focusing on the children but also on the teachers. So definitely it has noted that there is non-availability or there are inadequate smartphones which can be used by the students of the government school in regards to having an online access education. So definitely using the app is also, first is non-availability and inadequate of the usage of the smartphones, and next is the difficulty in using the smartphones also is an hindrance to the access to the online education. And the most important reason why students are not able to access the online education is because of the non-availability and inadequate of the smartphones, as well as difficulty in using the apps which are pertaining to the online education. And the most important thing is children with disabilities are certainly feeling very difficult to participate in the online session. So the government, while you're writing an answer or preparing a short notes for your mains answer, so definitely do focus the children with disabilities in regards to the education also. Certainly there would be a question in the mains, the topic for education, and do mention the children with disabilities, how they are facing difficulty in participating the online session right from March 21st, the day when the lockdown has taken place, until now when the entire education system in India is going ahead or following the online education. So definitely the children with disabilities has to be taken into consideration while you are writing the answer. And not only in regards to the children the study was conducted, but also in regards to the teachers and also the parents. And definitely 70% of the parents who have been the respondents, they have had the opinion that the online classes were not effective and they did not help their children's learning. So definitely the parents also feel, that is 70% of the parents who were being part of the Asim Premji University study, that is the title of the study is Myths of Online Education. Myths of Online Education is the title, and there in this the parents definitely 70% of the feel that online education are not effective and they did not help their children's learning. And also the teachers also expressed a lot of frustration while taking up the online classes. That is 80% of the teachers felt that they are unable to maintain any emotional contact with the students. So certainly there is a miss or gap of emotional contact which the offline classes do have that feasibility and the facility to have that emotional touch or the connect with the students in the offline, that is in the classroom sessions. But in the online sessions definitely the teachers are frustrated and they say that 80% of them say that they do not or they cannot or they are unable to maintain emotional connect with the students. And then 90% of the teachers say that no meaningful assessment which is being given to the children's learning was possible. So definitely they are also not really going ahead with completing the assignments because they are unable to complete the assignments which the teachers have been given to the students, that is the children's, in the form of assignments. So definitely 50% of the teachers report that the children who have been given the assignments are unable to complete the assignment, and this unable to complete the assignments in the online classes is leading to serious gaps in learning. This is the very important keywords. So definitely the gap in the learning through the online education is increasing because the children are unable to complete assignments which is provided or which is given by the teachers towards the children. So this is very important information in regards to the general essay, the topic education. And there is another news which we will focus, that is our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has addressed the 12th BRICS Summit, and there he has mentioned about the need to confront the countries wherein the countries are supporting and sponsoring terrorism. And he also made it very clear that the terrorism has become the biggest problem which the entire world is facing. So that, the entire BRICS countries have to come forward to make sure that they all confront the countries which are supporting and sponsoring terrorism. And definitely our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while he was addressing the 12th BRICS Summit, has acknowledged the Russian support. So Russia has come forward to support the confronting the countries which are supporting and sponsoring terrorism. And Modi has also emphasized that India would continue supporting counter-terrorism strategy. So definitely the counter-terrorism strategy is a keyword which has been used by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the 12th BRICS Summit, and that can be a keyword that you can use it in your short notes. So India is definitely going ahead with, or it is in the mode of counter-terrorism strategy or various plans to come up to counter-terrorism, and thereby our Prime Minister has emphasized the need to confront the countries which are supporting and sponsoring the terrorism. And in fact, Russia has come forward to support India. And Mr. Modi has also raised the issue of the credibility and effectiveness of the institutions in regards to the global governance. So one is in regards to the terrorism, the Prime Minister has raised the issue, and the other one which the Prime Minister has raised the issue is in regards to the global governance. So when we are talking about the global governance, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi is raising the issue in the global governance, that is about the credibility and the effectiveness of the institutions which are actually necessary for the global governance. So the point here is the credibility and the effectiveness of the institutions. So when he is focusing on the institutions, definitely is focusing on the United Nations Organization institution, and part of it is United Nations Security Council, wherein India's assessment in regards to the UNSC is that India wanted reforms or urgent reforms to be taken up in the United Nations Security Council, and India wants the BRICS countries support, that India is wanting United Nations Security Council's reforms which should be taken up at a very faster pace, and that is the need of the hour what India is assessing or assessed or put forward in the 12th BRICS Summit. And definitely, as India will be the non-permanent member of UNSC next year, that is 2021, so it wanted not only in regards to the UNSC, but it wanted reforms or changes to be brought in various international institutions. In various international institutions also, India is raising the issue of the credibility and the effectiveness of various institutions, international institutions, so that it would add value to the global governance. And Modi has also very clearly emphasized the importance of the BRICS countries, wherein it has 42% of the world population, the BRICS countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. So definitely they have the significant role in trying to have the recovery of the economy post COVID-19 pandemic situation. So definitely the BRICS countries are the one, they are having the economies of which will be a major engine to the world. So BRICS countries economy or BRICS economy is the major economies of the world. This could be again a question also in the mains examination. BRICS economies are the major engines of the world. Comment. BRICS, rather than countries, we will take BRICS economies are the major engines of the world. Comment, or it could be discuss. So this you need to focus it from again mains perspective, because this is what our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has highlighted at the BRICS Summit, and Prime Minister has also introduced the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan scheme to the BRICS members in the summit, saying that the campaign, that is Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan campaign, is a one which is pointing at reforms process. So definitely, as we are wanting reforms to be taken up at the UNSC and the international institutions levels, so that India is also now concentrating gradually on the reform process, and that was introduced, that is Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan campaign to the BRICS members. And the campaign, what Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said is, it is based on the subject of self-reliant and resilient India. Self-reliant and resilient India. And then definitely India can become a force multiplier for the entire post-COVID-19 world order. And you can also take this as a question now, rather than just looking at the BRICS economies are the major engines of the world. That is one question, and the other question for the mains can be that Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan campaign, Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign, which is a self-reliant and a resilient India, can become a force multiplier for the post-COVID-19 world order. Explain. That means with the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan campaign, India can become resilient, that is resilient India can become force multiplier for the post-COVID-19 world order. This is also a probable question which you can take it and then try to write an answer in for the mains 2020. And definitely India is in talks with Russia in regards to the vaccine, that is Sputnik 5, and definitely it is expected to begin its operations or the trials in Uttar Pradesh in next week. And India has led a regional collaboration in the South Asia for ensuring the vaccine for countries, especially for Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. So definitely India is also trying to project itself as a country which is also having a lead regional collaboration in South Asia, especially focusing on the countries of Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. And Modi has emphasized the importance of the New Development Bank (NDB), wherein it would help financing or supporting financially in research for the COVID-19 vaccine. So definitely we are focused in regards to the NDB, and then vaccine, terrorism, and then Atmanirbhar Bharat, and then BRICS countries. So definitely these are the keywords which you need to focus and then identify, that is in regards to terrorism, and definitely in regards to the reforms, urgent reforms which India is wanting, and then the importance of BRICS countries, Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign, and then vaccine in regards to the COVID-19, the Sputnik 5, and also in regards to the NDB, that is the financial institutions which the BRICS countries have come together and formed New Development Bank. And there is another news which talks about vaccine not the end all. So definitely experts do say that there is a possibility that COVID-19 vaccine would certainly come up in a year or so in completely. And in the midst of it, the Niti Aayog member VK Paul has made it very clear that India is in the mode of going ahead with the 5 COVID-19 vaccine candidates, and they are in a different stages in India, and definitely out of that 5, 2 are in the third phase. So definitely third phase, that is third clinical trial phase, is being conducted. Out of 5, 2 are in the third phase, and definitely there is a possibility that it is a positive signal that we would get the vaccine, and that would be used for the frontline workers or the doctors or the one who are really a shield to the entire population in India. And definitely now India wants to reiterate what the WHO has said, and WHO has said it very clear about the vaccine, that definitely vaccine is a game changer. Vaccine is a game changer, but it is not an end, or it is not end all to the pandemic situation. So definitely we need to be cautious even after the vaccine once it is been in the market. Whether it is a game changer, certainly, but it is not an end to all of the pandemic, that is COVID-19 pandemic situation. So definitely it is only, vaccine is only a complement. Vaccine would add as a complement to the existing or the already existing tools which the country or the world is trying to tackle the pandemic situation. Please do understand, vaccine is definitely game changer, that, but it is not an end of the entire COVID-19 pandemic situation, because the vaccine will only complement the existing tools which we are trying to handle the pandemic situation. And definitely the health secretary Rajesh Bhushan has spoken about the recovered cases in India, and the recovered cases in India are 82.9 lakh and the recovery rate in India is 93%. So certainly this is a positive signal or positive sign which is prevailing in India. But even though we know that in Delhi is the largest number of cases which are being taken up daily, that it is the highest in the world itself. So definitely in India and in the world itself. So even though recovery rate is 93%, but if the cases can be restricted in Delhi and also in Tamil Nadu and again further in Andhra Pradesh and various southern states along with the northern states, so definitely the recovery rate, increase in the recovery rate would also reduce the mortality rates. And the daily new cases for the last 2 consecutive days is 30,000 daily new cases, and in the last 24 hours, that is in one day, we have seen 29,163 cases. So definitely the new cases are reducing and the recovery rate is increasing. So this is a very important or a positive sign for India. But what is important is we need to make sure that it is not an end all of the pandemic. It is just a complement to the existing tools which we are trying to tackle the pandemic situation. And there is another news which talks about Sri Lanka to open up Chinese backed port cities. So definitely Sri Lanka is now going ahead with Chinese backed port city infrastructure development, and that was made a statement in the budget address, by the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister. That means Prime Minister himself is a Finance Minister. Sri Lanka's Prime Minister himself is a Finance Minister. That is Mahinda Rajapaksa has told the Sri Lankan Parliament in his budget address that the Chinese or mega Chinese real estate development will come up or will open early next year in Sri Lanka. And this Chinese real estate development has been offered tax concessions. Why they have offered tax concession? That is, the Sri Lankan Parliament or Sri Lankan government has gone ahead with tax concessions to attract trade, to attract banking sectors and also the foreign exchange transactions, so that this attraction of the trade, banking and foreign exchange transaction will revive the economy which is dwindling in Sri Lanka, which is struggling. The economy is being, at a very negative trend, and the Sri Lanka is struggling in regards to recoup the economy. So thereby now it has attracted, so it will open up next year to attract and to review the struggling economy of Sri Lanka. And the Colombo port city, which is of 1.4 billion land reclamation project which has taken up, has actually started in the year 2014, and now the Colombo port city will be now again taken up by the mega Chinese real estate development as part of the project's infrastructure development. And this development is the single largest foreign investment in Sri Lanka, and it will be a part of the various several massive Asian infrastructure projects which have been funded by China in Asia, or Asian infrastructure project which have been funded by China. And definitely Beijing is increasing, or it is prevailing its footprint in the region, that is in Asia. So definitely the budget speech by Prime Minister and Finance Minister himself, Mahinda Rajapaksa, in the Sri Lankan Parliament is definitely a sign that Beijing is increasing its footprint in the Indian Ocean. And there is another news which talks about cities needs a reset of pandemic exposed frailties. That means the Prime Minister has definitely gone ahead with an address. He has addressed a forum. That forum is Bloomberg New Economy Forum. And while addressing the forum, that is Bloomberg New Economy Forum, he has focused on, or he has exposed that pandemic has really exposed or made the entire world learn about the vulnerabilities of the cities, wherein the cities once have served as the world's growth engine, but now they are vulnerable because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So definitely COVID-19 pandemic situation has exposed the vulnerabilities of the cities, wherein these cities were once served as the world's growth engines till now. So that was a message which was prompted by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi in an address to the Bloomberg New Economy Forum, and he has called for a post-COVID-19 change in protocols. So he wanted that there would be change in the protocols post-COVID-19 pandemic situation, wherein he has compared the post-COVID-19 to post-war, that is post-World War I and World War II, so that there should be a new protocols which would or which should come up after COVID-19, the way the World War post-World War I and World War II, they have come up with various new protocols. That is, these efforts which were put in for rebuilding efforts post World War I and II, now this will develop more sustainable and resilient cities now, which are now vulnerable because or facing vulnerabilities because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So definitely the need of the hour is change in protocols, so that the cities vulnerable, which are vulnerable now, would be again sustainable and resilient. So these are all the keywords: sustainable and resilient are the keywords, and vulnerability of the cities is also keyword. And the Prime Minister has said that many cities across the world have declared themselves that they are brink of the world's worst economic downturn since Great Depression of 1930s. So what has impacted more than the world wars is what the Prime Minister is emphasizing is the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So definitely the COVID-19 pandemic situation has exposed the scenario of the cities or many cities which have brought in the necessity to change the protocols, the necessity to change in the protocols, so that we can develop more sustainable and resilient cities, which will be very useful for living, that is part of a city, are now being posed a question mark because they are all now vulnerable cities. And here what is the keyword what we need to focus in regards to the address made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the Bloomberg New Economy Forum is that he is focusing on the sustainable and resilient cities. This is the keyword. Sustainable and resilient cities. And Mr. Modi has definitely focused on various issues that the community gathering, sports activities, education, recreation are not the same after the COVID-19 pandemic situation. And now the biggest question which is at the need of the hour in front of everyone is how to restart the same kind of scenario what was prior to COVID-19 pandemic situation. And definitely there is a stress to restart, how to restart, and this would not be possible, or the stress to restart would be possible only when we have a reset of our mindset. That means when we have a different kind of thinking, or when we come up with the various new protocols into practice, that is new mindset, processes and practices has to be taken into consideration, and this definitely will be an historic reconstruction efforts which the people or the entire world population have taken up after the World War has definitely offered, or it has taught several lessons to various countries across the world. And now after the World War, the COVID-19 pandemic situation has also taught several lessons. And what is that is to how to restart, and what is that is important to restart is we need to reset our mindset, reset the processes and the practices what we have been following, that has to now come up with the new change in the protocols itself. The keyword is change in the protocol, change in the protocol and reset of mindsets, processes and practices are the need of the hour. And definitely after the post world wars, the entire world is working on new world order. So here the keyword is new world order. So new world order can be by change in protocol, change or reset in mindsets, reset in processes and practices, and that will lead to new world order. And definitely COVID-19 has provided an opportunity to develop new approaches in every field, wherein we need to reset our mindset, processes and practice, so that we will have a new approaches in every field and we can restart the entire scenario once again. And definitely there is a need to reduce the stress on the urban system, and definitely to reduce the stress on the urban systems, what is that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi or India is doing is, it is inviting the foreign investors to consider that there is an opportunity while we go ahead with urbanization, mobility, innovation and sustainable solutions will certainly create an opportunity, and thereby we can make sure that there is the stress on the urban systems can be reduced. And Modi has also made it very clear that India will achieve its target to build 1000 kilometers of metro rails or metro lines, and it will provide 10 million urban housing units by 2022. So this is again a crucial information for prelims perspective of target of 1000 kilometer metro lines and 10 million urban housing units by 2022. So certainly here the importance is on the sustainable and resilient cities, which the COVID-19 pandemic situation is definitely teaching a lesson which the entire world has learned lessons from the world wars. And after the world war, what is that is teaching now the entire world is the COVID-19 pandemic situation, and we need to learn from it, that how the cities have been vulnerable now, change of the vulnerable cities towards sustainable and resilient cities. Madhu, very good morning to you, Madhu. So definitely this will also be a very important analysis for the mains examination, mains 2020. So certainly now we will focus at the recapitulations. This is in regards to what Supreme Court has asked the center in regards to disappointment of its affidavit, and this is in regards to the online education, wherein the survey or the report of the Asim Premji University, and this is again very important from mains perspective because education is the topic which is for sure topic in the mains general essay. And then inclusion of technology in education. Inclusion of technology in education is the point here, online. And this is in regards to the BRICS summit. BRICS summit. So definitely the emphasis by our Prime Minister is on terrorism, reforms, and also in regards to the BRICS, how it will be an engine to the world economy, BRICS countries, and thereby again making sure that how the trade, inviting the countries to have trade, and then in regards to vaccine and then also pertaining to the NDB, supporting the financial support to the vaccine. Definitely this is in regards to the health, how we need to be very clear about vaccine is not the end. And this is in regards to the Chinese outreach in the Indian Ocean, and this is again in regards to the sustainable and resilient cities. Sustainable and resilient cities, this is again very important for mains perspective. And this is in regards to the neighboring countries, India's neighboring countries, what is happening in the India's neighboring countries. So certainly I hope this session was informative, knowledgeable, and also very important for mains examinations. So I would say a very big thank you and a good luck to you all, and then do maintain consistency and then stick to your schedule and take care of your physical health and mental health. And then do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Do subscribe the AKS IAS Academy English medium YouTube channel for the advanced knowledge system, that is AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis in English medium. Do visit the AKS IAS Academy website. Do subscribe the Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy, that is advanced knowledge system. And then see you again at 7:30 a.m. tomorrow for the daily news analysis. Do make sure that you inform your friends about the subscribing the AKS IAS Academy English medium YouTube channel for the daily news analysis in English medium. And I would say a very big thank you to all, and then see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.